Okay, so a lot of people hate pop-ups. Some people think that they're good, some people think that they're terrible. But today, I'm gonna tell you specifically how to set up the pop-up strategy for your website so that it converts, it captures emails, and it gets people really into the funnels that you want based off of the topics on the specific landing pages. Hi everybody, I'm John Lincoln with Ignite Visibility, and let's dive into it. Okay, so a lot of people are really against pop-ups. They see pop-ups, and if you're not really a seasoned marketer, you might think to yourself, oh, I don't want to do pop-ups. They're bad for the user, and they're going to turn people off of my website. But what you don't realize is that any given pop-up will probably have a 0.5% to a 5% click-through rate on an individual landing page. So that's a pretty good amount, right? So if you have a great pop-up and it really relates to this specific landing page, that would mean out of every 100 people that land, 5 people are going to be clicking through to that next step. And when you think about whatever the next step is after that and what the conversion rate on that next step would be, you can build a business model. So for example, if I have 100 people coming to a page, 5% click through to the next page, so 5 people, and I have a 50% conversion rate on that next page because it really matches what had to do with the pop-up, then I'm gonna have 2.5 people who I just took from being nothing on the website to now being an actual converter. And that's really how it works. Those metrics are actually pretty similar to the way that we've set it up for Ignite Visibility and the way that we try to set it up with our pop-up program for each of our clients. But when it comes down to it, what you need to know about pop-ups is a few things. First, it really matters how you fire the pop-up. You don't want to be doing a full page takeover pop-up. You know, those actually will get you a penalty inside of Google. Google says that if you're going to be firing a full page pop-up, that you'll get a penalty. If you do it on mobile, it should really only take up a third of the screen or less. Otherwise, you get the mobile interstitial penalty. Really, the best ones that I've seen, and the way that I like to kind of walk that line between something that might be really high converting, but then on the other end, something that's not evasive and super low converting, I personally like to do the nudge pop-ups that come up from the bottom. So if somebody lands on a page, they scroll down just a couple percent, and you have a little pop-up that comes from the bottom. And basically what that'll do is that'll actually be helpful for the user, because what you're doing is you're inserting an animated call to action that comes in. Somebody sees it, they consider it, and then they want to click on it and find out more. So those work very well, and I highly recommend them as one of the best performers. But once they click on that, you know, not just kicking them to a contact form, but instead kicking them to a dedicated landing page. So one of the things that I like to do, which works really well, and I've learned through a lot of trial and error, is kick them into a funnel. And an easy way to do this would be to set up a landing page through unbounce. So for example, if somebody goes to one of the pages that we've written on a blog post on pay-per-click marketing, paid media, they go there, they scroll down a little bit, they see a pop-up from me, and it says, hey, our audits, you know, usually save tens of thousands of dollars on pay-per-click, click here to find out more. They're gonna click on that, and then they're gonna go to a specialized landing page about that topic, and that's gonna have a really high conversion rate, and by doing that, we're gonna be able to drive leads consistently. So then the question becomes, if there's these intricacies to it, how do you know which pop-ups to fire on which page? Well, the way that I firmly recommend you do is basically look at each topic and segment of the website and create general pop-ups around each of those segments. As a next step, go through your top 20 landing pages and create individual pop-ups that relate to each of those landing pages. And you should also be split testing each of the pop-ups that you're setting up. So you can set up a split test for each of the pop-ups, and you're always going to select the winner and be consistently improving that. And then finally, you can also set up a pop-up that's general for the entire website. Now, the last thing that you need to think about with each of these is, what is the pop-up going to be for? Is it going to be to get somebody to a webinar? Is it going to be to get somebody to do an email capture? Or is it going to be to actually capture a lead? Well, what I like to do is think about what's the topic of the page. And if the topic of the page relates specifically to a product or service, that should be conversion focused. If it's a little bit more general, then in those cases, it's a great idea to use those pages to advertise something like a webinar, or to use those pages to capture an email. And then as a next step, if you're using it as an email capture, making sure that you've got a automation sequence that comes after your email capture so that there's messages being sent to those people. A great one to do is, if there's an automation after somebody puts in an email, having the automated email that gets sent out saying subscribe to something else, like your YouTube, or following you on Facebook, or following you on Instagram, or interacting with you however you like to see people interact with you in those other communities. So that's a little bit about pop-ups. They are really good. I definitely recommend doing it. It can be a way to take a website that's getting no leads, turning on a couple things, putting in a few hours or less, and monetizing a website right away just through a simple process. I work a lot with Opt-in Monster or SumoMe, now sumo.com, two great tools for this. I definitely recommend you check it out. So that's it for this Ignite Visibility University. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.